Hello, Doug Walker here. Robless, as you can see. He did not get a chance to see Gravity this week, so I will do this alone. But on top of that, I am also going to let you know a few things about sibling rivalry here. First of all, two things. One, if you're wondering why you haven't seen that many around, same reason you haven't seen that many bum reviews around, just there's been no big interesting movies the past few weeks. It's sort of a dead summer, and not that many interesting flicks. But, some real big ones are coming up, so we'll definitely address those. And then the other reason is we were talking because what we found out with doing the new Nostalgia Critics, that if it's something where, like, the movie that we're reviewing falls on a weekend where I'm doing, like, an editorial, that's fine, but big movies keep coming out every week, obviously, so they fall on weeks that I'm gonna be editing a lot and still want to get bum review out and sibling rivalry. So we're discussing, like, okay, well, what do we want to do, because we can't do both. I don't have time to do both in terms of, like, a big sort of production with sibling rivalry, with the set and editing and everything. So we're like, we have to give a one bum review or the sibling rivalry, and I really like doing the bum reviews. But then Rob brought up a good point. He says, well, why don't we just do vlog style? Why don't we just do sort of what we've been doing actually majority of the time? We'll just do it without the set and without all the bells and whistles, and people seem to like that fine. So we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep doing sibling rivalry. We're just going to keep it simple and, just we can always manage just to put a camera in front of us and talk. We're good at that. So you'll still see those coming. It just won't have all the bells and whistles like what you saw with the last one, with the Despicable Me one. But we'll still make good use of that set. Don't worry. A lot of that stuff is going to the game show now, so don't worry about that. So yeah, just a heads up, sibling rivalry is still going on. It's just going to be actually sort of like what you've seen before, just very downplayed. But people seem to like that. They like when we're just chatting about movies, so that's what you'll get. With that said, this is Gravity. Saw this on IMAX and 3D, and man, was I glad I did that. We came in and we sat, like a half hour early, and, like, theater was already packed like shit, so of course, what's left, like, the second from the front row, okay, let's do it. And we still got a center seat, that's nice, but it's second from the front row in the friggin' IMAX, like, the best seat you could have had in the house for that movie, because this is a film, all the stuff you're hearing about it, in terms of, like, how breathtaking a lot of it is, really is true. If you see this on IMAX and 3D, and actually sit close, you feel like you're in fucking space. It's just unbelievable how much this creates this atmosphere and how much you just feel like you're with these astronauts. And take that out of it. How's the rest of the film? For the first maybe 40 minutes, for me anyway, I kind of forgot I was watching a film. I was just in it. I was just in space with these people, and it's shot in a way where it's very flowing, it's very close to these people. They try to very much capture their point of view, and it's very much an experience. And Sandra Bullock sort of plays the every woman up there trying to get back home. George Clooney plays sort of the supportive astronaut trying to help, and astronaut number 3 dies. I don't think I'm giving anything away with that. I mean, it's like, you can't know going in, oh, who's that guy? We can't really see a close-up of his face at all. Oh, well, he's dead. So I don't think that's any big reveal. And it's really amazing. Like I said, the first 40 minutes, you really feel like you're in this place, you're with the astronauts, and it's really unbelievable. After that, you sort of start to become more aware of your seat and that you're in a theater, and the dialogue gets a little bit more movie-ish, and the situations get a little bit more movie-ish, but it's still a good movie. It's done well. So I'm not going to fault it at all, like, oh, why couldn't you be this unbelievable experience all the way through? It's like, no, the fact that they could get the first 40 minutes where I just feel like I'm in friggin' space. I mean, good God, there's people now paying to go into space. It's like, dude, just pay to see Gravity in the front row with 3D glasses. It's like, it practically feels like the same thing. So it's very, very impressive. Like I said, I think the point where she starts to get I'll try not to give too much away, but there's a point where they're saying you got to get to a space station, and she does get to it. And I don't think I'm giving away too much. That's not like the ending at all. Don't worry. I think around that point, though, you sort of start to say to yourself, how many friggin' things can go wrong? At first, you kind of get it, because it's like you're alone in space, you're in the stars, you have this one thing giving you oxygen, and everything is so sensitive, one move, and you could be floating out there forever, so you get it, you grasp it very quickly. But then when you get to the space station, kind of from then on, it becomes a little, the universe hates Sandra Bullock. Just everything is trying to fucking destroy her. And you become more aware of that. And like I said, it's a survival flick, and there's a lot of sort of obvious rebirth metaphors and stuff, but they're done well. They're still fine. And it just... But you become more aware where it used to be, wow, I'm up here with these people. You suddenly start to go, okay, what's going to attack now? What's going to, try to fuck things up? But like I said, that's the nature of the movie. I think it just did the first 40 minutes or so unbelievably well that when it gets to the part that, oh, now we're in a good movie as opposed to an experience, for me anyway, I could notice it, but I still really enjoyed it. The dialogue near the end gets, again, a little movie-ish. It's for example, there's this one part that felt very real. Sandra Bullock, who I'm not usually a fan of, but does very good in here. Like I said, she sort of plays the every woman up there trying to fight for her life. And for example, there's a scene where she gets like some sort of radio reception of like someone from Earth or something, and it's like an Asian person she can't understand, but has like dogs and a baby, and you can tell she just starts to crack a little bit and starts to be like, hey, can you get the dogs a little louder? Can you sing that lullaby? That'd be nice. And bark, woo, woo, bark, bark, woo, woo. If you were to read that in the script, you'd be like, the hell is this? But again, in this environment that they've created and the situation that they've created, you buy it. And you sort of say, okay, I get why she's doing this. But then sort of in other scenes, she's sort of making what I call the castaway speech, and I'm gonna do this because I can, because I have a life worth living now. I feel you don't really need that, and I know like it's totally possible a person in that situation would say this kind of stuff, but it's more possible in movies. It sort of happens more in movies, so it still works okay. I think if I had one other, I don't want to say like it's a downside, but again, maybe a hint distracting, is that George Clooney's a little too fucking charming watching this. There's just, and I get he's supposed to be sort of like, the callback to, hey, focus, do your job, let's survive, let's get out of here and stuff. But I mean, does this guy ever break a sweat? Does this guy ever get concerned about anything? Everything he does, it's just, with a cool little smile and, oh yeah, of course. And I get it. I know he's supposed to be the calm center. He's supposed to be the thing that calms her down and calms us down, but he's a little too friggin' charming, in my opinion. He still does good, though. I mean, he's totally passable. But every time I saw him, I saw George Clooney. There was never a time I'm like, oh, I'm looking at this astronaut who has this life. No, it's always George Clooney. Sandra Bullock, I saw, someone really trying to survive, really trying to, do everything she can to get back home. And I really bought it. And like I said, for someone that hasn't been a huge Sandra Bullock fan, like I don't hate her or anything, I just haven't gotten into her stuff. I was impressed by this. I thought she did a pretty good job. Even during the hokey moments, I thought, with the hokey dialogue, she pulls it off pretty good. So, yeah, I say people who would not like it, I would probably say anyone looking for like twists in turns or a lot of character development. This is not that kind of film. This is very much an experience movie. So I don't want to say like 2001 because there's not as many like, whatever. There's not quite as much like symbolism, though there is, but you don't, even if you don't acknowledge the symbolism, you can follow the story fine, where in 2001 it's like the symbolism takes over the story, and which is great. I love 2001, but it's definitely an experience movie. It doesn't dive into these people's lives too much because they want to make it feel like you're this person up in space, and they do a nice balance. They're not totally blank slates. They still do have backstories. They're very cleverly shown. They talk about it to sort of keep their sanity and so forth. So it's a good balance, but I would say if you're looking for wow, this was such an incredible story that every second threw in a new twist, a new turn, something you never thought of. No, it's people in space trying to get back home. I mean, that's all it is, but it's done very much trying to make it feel like you are in space, and the 3D is very good, and the effects are very good, and the cinematography is very good. Even though I know it's mostly shooting whatever computers, these angles are still very well calculated and thought out. Like, the opening shot has to be 15 minutes long without an edit, and like I said, you just feel like you're flying around with these astronauts. It's very, very well handled. I say people who would like it, anyone looking to feel like you're in space, looking to feel like, you're going to be that you want to be up there. It is kind of a heart-pounding film, but it's not to a point, let me put it this way, it's not a film where all you're looking at is Clooney and Bullock just floating against stars. It's not that. There are things to get to, there are obstacles to overcome, so it's not just looking at stars. So for anyone sort of afraid of that, because I'll admit, sort of going in, I was kind of like, I don't know, how real is this? It is suspenseful, and it is kind of claustrophobic, but probably not in the way you're thinking, because the trailers don't show that much. It's not just them floating against black. You almost always can see Earth. You can, pick a point, that's like, okay, this side up, this side down, and so forth. So it's not quite that bad, which I don't know how to feel about that, because a part of me does say, man, if they really want to scare the fuck out of you, just put them out in space the whole time and just rely on that. But again, I think it might get a little boring, though they could pull it off. And B, I think that would just possibly be a little too intense. And when you know where the story goes and what it's all amounting to, this was good. This was a good way that they did it. So yeah, if you're sort of looking for a decent suspense thriller that also relies very heavily on this experience of being in space, I say it's a good flick to check out. I think it's pretty well handled. So yeah, that's about it. A lot of big movies coming up this fall and this winter. I was looking at the list. I'm like, wow, why didn't these come out in summer? So I'm excited. I'm excited to see new films coming out, and you'll see more sibling rivalry, and you'll see more bum reviews, all that good stuff. So lots of good things coming your way, and we will see you there. Take care.